No, I consider it a blessing, a curse, a vocation. No, I don't know. It's definitely not a hobby, because hobbies are supposed to be fun.
Right.
Right. It's really just
But you definitely try to
And it's
make
definitely not
career
a
out of
job,
it.
because
It's
jobs
not.
pay you.
Right.
Hobbies are fun and jobs pay you.
Hi, I'm Elyssa Lovelace. You're watching Videowave. I'm here today with Secret History. You want to introduce yourself?
Sure, I'm Michael Grace. This is Elyssa Ronson and Gilbert.
What do you each play?
I do a bunch of songwriting and some singing and some keyboards.
I sing.
And I play bass guitar.
How did you all start making music together?
Well, Gil and I have been making music together since high school, and we had a band called My Favorite in the turn of the century, turn of the millennium. And after that band ended, we created The Secret History together with a few of our other bandmates, Darren Amadio and Todd Krasik and Kurt Brando, and added Elyssa Ronson as our vocalist, and that's how The Secret History became The Secret History.
How did you all start playing? How long have you been playing for?
As a Secret History, it's been 3 or 4 years now. You know, our previous band was a better part of a decade. So we put an ad in music papers searching for a tragic female singer or something equally ridiculous, and Elyssa, that was appealing to you.
Yeah.
So you were willing
That sounds
to answer that sort of request, you know. And she showed up, and we rehearsed together, and we really just clicked as people, and the way she sang my songs, I thought was gonna do something a little different with them from my previous band, and onwards.
You think it's a lot different from what you used to do?
I mean, the first band, you know, I tend to make music, and when I write songs, I like to always put myself in opposition in some ways against what's happening. I like that tension. So when we started in the 90s, we were young, and there was a lot of grunge and lo-fi guitar music, and I really wanted to have a sort of more synthetic and dramatic sound that kind of harkened back to the 80s in a lot of ways, and that was definitely off-putting for a lot of the music press then. Nowadays, that would be fantastic.
Right.
So then when we started this band, I wanted to maybe be a little bit more of an art rock band and explore some more kind of guitar-centered things. But now with this new record, we're sort of circling back a little bit. But I definitely wanted The Secret History to be different from that band, but it's more so that just whatever the time that you're in making music, to me, that affects the way that we do it.
What do you think the difference was between your influences with the previous band, according to, opposed to now?
Well, we were teenagers when we started My Favorite. That was the first band, and the music that meant a lot to us, whether it was the Smiths or New Order or Sour Records, that was
Like new wave kind of.
Yeah, that had a lot of meaning to us in terms of the way we saw ourselves as outsiders in the suburbs. We were growing up on Long Island, and even though we were close to the city, it didn't feel that way. So that music and its kind of dreaminess and otherness, we could sort of imagine ourselves as, sexy European misfits as
Right.
opposed to just losers on Long Island. So My Favorite was a sort of realization of that dream. By the time we started The Secret History, we had, we'd opened for some big bands. We had played some big shows in Europe ourselves as My Favorite. We had made a impression as an obscure cult band that some people liked. So I think we were able to sort of choose what we wanted The Secret History to be, whereas I think My Favorite chose us in a way.
What have you guys been listening to?
What have we been listening to? I bought 2 records yesterday. One was Switched on Bach, which is like all Bach's music played on Moogs from like 1976. It was only $3. But then I also bought a new record called Girls' Names, which is out on Slumberland, kind of similar to, reminded me of the Mary Chain a little bit, but it's brand new, some teens from Belfast, I think. So that's what I got. But you guys, what are you listening to?
I've been listening to the new Beach House album a lot.
You like that?
I do like that. And the new Fiona Apple album.
Okay.
Provocative.
It's also really good. Yeah, and for myself, Leszek Mosder, he's a Polish contemporary jazz pianist. Very, very fond of his work. More recently, I guess the new Mark Kozelek album, Sun Kill Moon. I'm listening to that, and
You told me to listen to the Frank Ocean record.
and
Give Frank a little love, you know.
yeah, well, I'm still trying to compare and contrast the last album, but I love what I hear so far.
All right.
Thanks for throwing that out there.
I mean, I want to give Frank
You know?
some love. The guy
Yeah.
deserves love.
Being in the business for a while, you noticed a lot of unknown bands such as Interpol. Do you think your influences have anything to do with that?
Well, when my favorite was playing clubs, we played with a lot of bands at that time, which like Interpol and the Walkmen and a couple others that were coming up in that sort of early aught scene, and it was definitely interesting to see their approach to the business in a way, which was definitely more professional than ours.
Right.
And they were more driven, I think, to be pop stars than we were. I think we saw it a little bit as an art project. Although, after being in that scene, for a couple of years, it definitely made you want to sort of push yourself a little bit, And I think at the very end of my favorite, we were maybe ready to, play hardball a little bit, but then it had to end for reasons of personnel and.
Right. Do you consider this band like a second hobby, like a hobby, or
No, I consider it a blessing, a curse, a vocation. No, I don't know. It's definitely not a hobby, because hobbies are supposed to be fun.
Right.
Right. It's really just
But you definitely try to.
And it's
make
definitely not
career
a
out
job,
of it,
because
though.
jobs
It's not.
pay you.
Right.
Hobbies are fun and jobs pay you, so it's something else. Like
Okay.
I said, a curse.
It's like in the middle.
No, it's definitely right to the left, far, far, far,
Far
far to the
It's a
left.
labor of love that you
Okay.
can't live
Oh,
without.
don't lie, Gilbert. It's a labor.
Do you have a music video
do you-
planned for Sergio?
I do. I'm gonna make Gilbert put a tracksuit on and walk through the giant cemetery in Queens on the edge of the Long Island Expressway.
Yeah,
He thinks I'm
this is
kidding.
He's like, yeah.
That
this
is
is
true.
the first. This is the first I've heard of that.
But it will happen.
But you're on board with the idea.
Yeah, as long as I can step into a Dunkin' Donuts, and have a cup of coffee.
There'll be
along
coffee
the
and
way.
cigarettes available. We have craft services for you.
Okay.
Cigarettes
then
and
I'm all
coffee.
in. All in. Sure.
What are some of the clubs that we can catch you in New York?
We have we like Glasslands a lot. We played a few shows there. Lisa, where else have we played? What do we like? Where do we like to play?
Southpaw was fantastic, but they
That is now
recently closed.
That is recently closed.
We'd
have to occupy Southpaw at this point if we were to play another show there.
I'd love to play Brooklyn Bowl.
Brooklyn Bowl, that would be a cool
Fantastic
place to
sound.
play. We played the Knitting Factory, that was fun.
The one in
Nice.
Brooklyn or the one in
the
Manhattan?
Factory's great.
Yeah. Knitting
The
Factory.
first band, the one in Manhattan, but recently with the Secret History, the one in Brooklyn, we did our record release show in 2010 at the Knitting Factory. And the Rock Shop is a really
Assembly.
Public Assembly. The Rock Shop
We
is a
played
cool
at the-
small club.
Yeah.
The Cake Shop.
The Cake Shop.
Our early
Definitely,
roots
definitely,
started
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
There's,
We've also played Williamsburg Hall.
the music,
Music Hall
we supported
Williamsburg.
the World Inferno at
World
the,
Inferno there in 09.
a lot of
I
good
believe.
clubs.
Right.
Yeah.
Queens needs a club.
Queens does need a club. There's a couple. Isn't the Brooklyn? No, not Brooklyn. Brooklyn, Queens. What was that called? There's a couple. There's Gussie's.
Yep.
There's a couple. How did you develop your musical talents as children?
There's no verification that have been developed. Talent and developing, these two things have not been independently verified. Gilbert, I see you practicing.
Yeah.
Is that what you do?
Yeah. Well, I started playing classical piano when I was 6, so that was my early start to music, and I was also around a lot of music with my parents. My father's a vocalist, and my mom played piano, so I guess.
I was left-handed, and there was no left-handed guitars around.
lucky you.
So the keyboard, used both hands.
Yeah.
So they sent me for keyboard lessons, but I was left-handed. I only want to play chords. So I don't know. You know what it is? I love music so much, and I love the records that were kind of changing my life when I was 14 or 15. So I just wanted to learn how to write songs. So I never became a real good musician, but I came to understand, I think, kind of what was necessary for a song. So sometimes the best musicians have traditionally not made great songwriters, and then you have guys like well, I don't know, like Bob Dylan or someone like that, who, you know, is certainly a good musician, but is more really about bringing all the things together to make
Right.
a song, a story, music, and also just that other aspect of a song that surprises people, whatever that might be. So, you know, I believe in pop music, and I believed that it could mean something to you, and then I just sort of followed where that took me.
How did you get your start?
I'm a bit of a late developer, so it really wasn't until I joined these guys that I...
Oh, you weren't in any prior projects?
No, I mean, I dabbled, but like the first time I got on stage with these guys was the first time I'd ever performed, and
So when you got together with them, would you consider it a hobby because you didn't know where it was going to go?
yeah.
Yeah.
I would say, when I first joined, I would say that it was I was trying it out. I didn't know what was going to happen. It's one of these things. I answered this ad, and I almost didn't go to the interview because I just wasn't sure. I didn't know what I was doing, but I saw it through. I'd made a promise that I would go and meet at a specific time. I felt bad canceling and so late in the afternoons.
Better not have done that.
So I came and
Lisa grew up with a lot of music around her, you know, in her family and in the people that were around her as a child, and so, you know, maybe that just sort of reverberated into your spirit.
well,
you know?
once I started, I got hooked.
Okay, but it's in your DNA. So.
What do you
It
think
was
about the
always
music
sort
scene of today?
I really like it. I think that it lends itself to a lot of experimentation and a lot of creativity. There's not a lot of artist development with record labels anymore. So
Right, everybody's pretty
So
independent.
everybody that's doing it, it's for because they want to or they enjoy it, and it's not so much anymore about.
That's an interesting point, you know, because I often sort of think about those substantial differences in terms of having a band that hooks up early with a label and gets a lot of sort of direction from it,
Right.
versus now where everyone is sort of in this kind of primordial ooze, you know, waiting
You
to
can make your own
evolve, you
decision
know.
about things.
So I think on a sort of basic level, there is a lot of experimenting and a lot of really interesting ideas coming out. I think sometimes it's not being given that extra focus to necessarily keep growing. In other words, bands' careers are getting shorter and shorter in a way, I've noticed. But in general, there's a lot of room to try and find your own voice and do your own thing. I think you're right about that. And on that level, it's definitely positive.
You have an album in development, Americans Singing in the Dark. Each song is based off personal experiences with an individual. How would you describe the album as both an autobiographical concept album, more so than your previous albums?
I think my autobiography is a concept album. I mean, I like having a concept as a way of organizing my thoughts and my songs, so it's just a way of disciplining me to stay focused. So I wanted to make a record about America because America is in a lot of torpor, and it's a good time to sort of talk about it and think about it. And so the idea of writing songs about just anonymous Americans, anonymous to the public, but I know who they are. It seemed like a good way to talk about my friends, to talk about their struggles to survive in America, or just figuring out who they are in America. So some songs are about some of the closest people in my life, but a lot of them are about maybe a member, maybe a band that we played with in the early days of the New York scene, or a waitress or something, you know.
So just really random experiences.
Yeah, I mean, I think I take something away from different people's stories sometimes through, you know, one meeting, a lot of times through years of knowing them. But it's a record about America in the sense that, you know, America makes a lot of promises about becoming who you are, and as a result, I think it weighs on people when they can't quite become that.
Right. It's a lot of pressure.
It's a lot of pressure,
yeah.
you know.
Count backwards. What was your inspiration there?
Count backwards. Well, you know, it's got the line, Bela Lugosi's dead, and I'm not feeling so hot myself. To me, that's just Catskill shtick, Gilbert. You know how much I love the great comedians of New York's past. But certainly, you know,
It's true.
Bela Lugosi's dead is a very famous Bauhaus song, and I was aware of that. And the song is in a kind of gothic spirit. So I like to show a little love to my goths, to my friends. Let's hear it. And Lisa,
Shout out to
she captures the angst and the desperation of a brunette goth perfectly in that song. You love singing that one.
One of my favorites.
That's your favorite song to sing?
It's one of my favorites.
What's your favorite song to sing?
Oof. Right now, I really like City and Sea, which is on the new album.
We will debut
That's a
that
lot of
video
fun.
here in a year.
Now, before the viewers, you saw video Johnny Anorak,
Johnny Anorak.
and up next is your video Johnny Nightmare, both about misery, regret, both with a Johnny. Are the two related?
Are they? You can never tell since we're such well-adjusted people here on the set. But as soon as we get home, it's all misery all the time.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Are the two related?
I shouldn't have interrupted you. What is the? What's the?
Are the two Johnnies related?
Are the two Johnnies related? You know, I mean, Johnny is like Johnny Be Good. You know, Johnny is
Right.
that sort of icon
He's
of
that
pop
guy.
and rock and roll. He's that sort of that figure, that symbol that stands in for the protagonist in a rock and roll song.
Right.
So, it's sort of like John Doe. It's Johnny Doe. So Johnny Anorak and Johnny Nightmare are two different people. Maybe they're two sides to a coin, a not very valuable coin, not a golden coin, maybe a tarnished nickel. But I mean, they're two characters that are looking for something. Johnny Anorak is sort of your local friend guy who is, you know, always kind of struggling to find his way in the universe. Johnny Nightmare is the embodiment of pure evil, i.e., most people's relationship partners, but not mine.
Thank you for being on the show, Secret History. I'm Elyssa Lovelace. This was Videowave. Thanks for watching.